Hello. Do you have volume? Please tell me you have volume. Great. Great. Fantastic. You can see me and you can hear me. I've got no filters on, so I tried to do something with my camera so you wouldn't see the reflection of my glasses, but that is nothing I can do about that today. So now, also bear with me if I'm going to get to the questions in a bit. I just don't. They go fast, so I have to go back a lot. And I think if any of you guys have been around any of my live chats before, you know that I'm an old guy and I have to go back manually, and I don't want to miss your questions, so I will. I will be. I'll be zooming like this. I'll be going back and I'll be doing all this. So I want to, because I don't. I want to make sure I don't miss anybody. We've got New Jersey, Sedona, Texas. uh, we hear you. Good, good, good. Ireland, got Ireland, all the way from Ireland. You know, our friend Misty Thrifter Junker Vintage Hunter is in Dublin right now, I believe. And Cincinnati, Cleveland, some Ohioans, Ontario. Hey, Greg from Ontario. Where in Ontario are you from? We just spent a lot of time in Windsor, but that was just over the river. Philly, Alabama, Jersey. I think I said that one already. Chicago. Smoke that like button. Boomers rule. Welsh. We got a Welsh person in here. Hi from Wales. Greenwood, Indiana, Philippines. Gosh, all worldwide. Hilliard, Ohio, Menifee, California, Cincinnati again, Southern California. Well, thank you guys for joining me today. I know that you could be doing. Oh, there you are. Are you back, Misty? You're back in Indiana. I thought you were still in. I thought you were still in Ireland. Glasgow. Hello there. I need to get back to Glasgow. How many times does somebody say that? I love Glasgow. I love Glasgow. Mississippi. A friend of mine just got back from a tour of the Shetland Islands, which I thought was really an interesting thing to do. I've been up to the Orkney Islands, and I didn't think you'd go any further. And then I checked out the Shetland Islands. I was like, wow. There's some stories there. That's very. Have you ever watched the X-Files called Home? The Peacock family. That's sort of what it reminded me of. But in the Orkney Islands, that's it's way north of Scotland. It's you have to take a ferry from the northern tip of Scotland to get to the Orkney Islands, and that's where they took the children away in the 80s. Very scandalous because they heard that there was like worshiping and other sort of close family relations going on. I think there were lawsuits. I don't necessarily think that was a founded accusation, but it was an interesting place to visit. That's for sure. So we got Colorado. We've got, is Jordan in here too? God, they let everyone in. Bullets, hey there. Irvine. Colorado, let's see. Grand Rapids, hello there. There's something going on. Hey, Ricardo. There was something going on in Grand Rapids that I was looking at really recently. I think it was a concert that was coming up that I was looking at in Grand Rapids. Victoria. Palm Springs, hello. Long time no see. Well, Palm Springs, I haven't seen you, but Palm Springs. That thing about that bomb, isn't that something that went off the other day? That was crazy. That was a week ago today, or a week ago yesterday, I think. Nuts, 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 nuts. I'm glad it's over as far as all isolated and done with. Manchester, England, England. Hello there. Quote the Mancurian. Are Manchester? Are people from Manchester there? No, that's Geordies or not Manchester. Mancurians, I think. Newcastle. Geordies are Newcastle. West Virginia. Love West Virginia. Gosh, yeah. I love it there. I love Tennessee. I love West Virginia. Yes. Bullets. You got it. X-Files. I'm hungry. Oh, wow. That's very kind of you. Thanks, Don P. I appreciate that. You're very, very kind. Thank you for the donation. We live on the donations, that's for sure. Jeff, hey, Jeff Jansarek, good to see you. AJ, hey, man. Nice to see you. Nice to see you. Gosh, Georgia, we miss you at that website. We miss you at that website. In fact, I just, on Finey Grave, I just added a picture. I was doing some research on Benedict Canyon because I always, it's always in my head. But there was actually a Benedict that it's named after, which makes sense. I thought it was a Saint Benedict, but it's actually someone called Edson Benedict, and he had farmland in Benedict Canyon, and that's why it's named after him, which I thought was really kind of interesting. Morrison Hotel Music Room. Hey there, guys! Isn't it? I'm assuming you're a Morrison fan. Isn't that something about that Jim Morrison bust from his grave being found? I don't think there's been no details released about that, but that was really something I wasn't expecting to see in the news ever. Matthew, when do you think you'll be doing your tours in Hollywood again? Don't think so. I don't think so. I miss it, but I don't think so. Alameda, San Antonio to Tempe, Boston, Essexville, Michigan. I don't know Essexville. San Diego plane crash. No kidding. That was another one. All kinds of things falling out of the sky these days. Minnesota, Portland. Did I need more soup and biscuits? No, thank you, Ricardo. It's very kind of you. Very, very kind of you to send them the first time. I still have my bell. Harper Woods, Michigan. Greg, hello there from New York City now. That's my high school. I graduated from Bishop Gallagher in Harper Woods. Mancurian, thank you. Rena and Angeli. Hey, Rena. Apple Valley from Hollywood. Hey, Scotty P. Oh, is that Donnie? Donnie, hey there. Good to see you. Melbourne. My gosh, all over the world. Hey, Nancy. Have I ever been to Truman's house? I think I have. You mean Harry, right? Harry Truman? Is there another? Cincinnati. Vegas. Love Vegas. Michael, hopefully going to be going there again soon. I love Vegas so much. Truman. Okay, Kenosha, Wisconsin. Cool. Hey, you know what we watched last night? Murrieta, California. Hey, Charlie. We watched last night. Have any of you guys seen that Pee Wee Herman documentary yet? That's on whatever it's on. It was like 3.5 hours. It could have been a lot shorter. I can tell you that. I enjoyed it. We weren't bored at all during it, but it could have been a lot shorter. That's for sure. There weren't any revelations as far as I'm concerned. I mean, there were 2 incidents that he was arrested for. One was for lewd conduct in the adult movie theater. Okay, that was always going to overshadow his career. But I forgot about the other time he was arrested for obscene materials. And well, actually, he was arrested because they said it was underage, but it wasn't. He just collected like vintage male magazines and vintage porn, I guess. And so they arrested him because he was associated with another actor who actually I guess he actually was involved in maybe something like that. So Pee Wee copped to 1 count of obscene materials just to get it over with. That's the same thing with the thing in the adult movie theater. He claimed that never happened. He claimed that what the police claimed happened didn't happen, but he showed up in court, but he didn't want to fight it because he didn't want to draw it out. He just wanted to get it over with. But it was a good documentary. I was hoping that it would go more into the development of Pee Wee and also the Groundlings. I mean, they talked about the Groundlings and how he started the first comedy troupe that he was in, and I enjoyed that. And the thing about SNL, I didn't know that he auditioned to be on Saturday Night Live, and it was the same season Gilbert Gottfried was auditioning. And they say that Gilbert Gottfried may have had an in with the producer, and Paul Rubens knew he wasn't going to get the gig. So because they were similar, skinny guys that have weird voices, and so that was kind of an interesting point. Now it's pretty good. It was cool to see his house. It was cool to see. Well, I've always heard he's really neurotic. I heard he was could be really kind of on guard and not very nice, or just very matter of fact, not very lighthearted. And that came through in he took Pee Wee very, very seriously, which is kind of funny. And I did actually go into the Christmas special. I guess when he got busted for all those things, or for the first thing, which he thought his career was done. But then they came out. How did they go? They dove into to making the Christmas special. I think that's what it was. I think it was after that scandal. And now that I think about it, it's like, well, that's kind of weird. How could that have been? Who's going to bankroll that? But the Christmas special is what got him out of his funk from doing all that. So I believe that's how it worked out, or how timeline wise. But it was he really went on about how special it was, and what the kind of Christmas special he wanted to make. And anyone who's ever followed me knows that. I think the Pee Wee Christmas special, I've said this since it aired on television, the greatest hour of television ever made. I will die on that hill. Like I will also die on the hill that the 1989 Academy Awards with Snow White was the greatest ever. The opening with Snow White, I know I say that, well, I still think the Sergeant Pepper movie is one of the greatest movies ever too. So, but in fact, I wrote Lily Tomlin, and I've written her online, and I contacted her agent about interviewing her because she was they had this like 20-minute intro for the Academy Awards, this ridiculous over the top, production number. And Lily Tomlin sort of is the peak of it. She's how the whole thing just comes to an end, was her. And I wanted to interview her about that. And I reached out a couple of different methods. So this time I tried reaching her by writing her to her home address. So fingers crossed, I will hear from Lily Tomlin and I will get the story. At least I want to find out more about the rehearsals, because I knew Eileen Bowman, who played the Snow White in that episode. She took my tour. Her sister Bernadette is a friend, and so I met Eileen. I know Bruce Valanche was part of it, and he wrote a book about it. I haven't read that yet. I like Bruce Valanche. He was on my tour too. He was funny, very funny. But we always knew that, didn't we? Oof. Boy, oh boy, I'm way back, but that's always what happens on here. I know Donnie. I know your Stingray, Donnie. Saginaw, Michigan. Oh, okay, yeah, Saginaw. We used to go there. We used to go there when I was a kid. There was my parents would always get a home on a lake for 1 week every summer. They always made sure that we did that, which was really a cool thing for them to do. So we used to go up to Saginaw Bay. In fact, is Saginaw Bay where the Colony is with that lighthouse? I used to love that lighthouse, Friendly Giant's Castle. Arkansas. Did it? Oh, Thrift. Yeah, I know, Misty. It was kind of sad. I was, yeah. It ended, that Pee Wee documentary ended in a weird way, because he kind of just had a strop and marched out, didn't want to do it anymore. And then, months later, he's about to die. So, it kind of ended on that whole, I don't know, kind of his attitude way. And I understand that. I understand that. They did skim over the Phil Hartman murder, but was it relative to what they were talking about? I don't believe that Phil Hartman was that bitter. I know that certain people in the Groundlings were bitter about Pee Wee's success. Phil Hartman would have had more of a claim to be bitter than anyone else, but I know others were upset that they weren't involved in all of that. And he made him is very practical. He did say that show business, you do what you got to do. And so that, in a sense, was very hardcore in that he was driven. And I wish I was driven that way. I could never be nasty like that, I don't think, but I wish I was more driven like he was. Hey, Nashville, LM, Charlene. Cool. I'm glad you like that. Groovy Nikki, hey there. Yeah, the bus did him the second time. That was fascinating. Neil, hey there. Hey, nice to see you, buddy. Nice to see you very much, Neil Robertson. It was funny. They threw in that he had love at the end of his life thing really quickly. I don't think I'll vlog about him again, just because, I don't know. There's nothing I can say that hasn't been said. If I had access to his house or something like that, that might be interesting. But I have nothing new to offer. Yeah, I did. I don't know if I included this in the zombie video that I did, but I forgot that there was a shop on Hollywood Boulevard next to the Cat and Fiddle, which was called London Britches, the Cat and Fiddle at the time. But next to it was a hot dog stand called Zombies, and that's where they got the name. Oh, and also they showed a picture of Dorothy, the button lady. When I moved to Hollywood in 1994, there was a homeless lady. I assume she was homeless because of the way she dressed and smelled, that always hung out on Hollywood Boulevard. And her name was Dorothy, and they called her the button lady. She always hung out at the bus stop. Just like this other guy called Mars, who walked around with this big styrofoam thing on his head. And every time he found something electronic, a plug, an antenna from a cell phone, he'd stick it in this thing. And these guys were homeless people, and they, we knew them by name, and they were really friendly, and we coexisted, and there was never a problem, and they were very nice, and Dorothy was really nice, and I took some really cool pictures of Dorothy. Now I'm sure she's gone now, but then the charm of Hollywood is gone too. But it was wild to see a picture of her for a split second in that documentary, which had to have been filmed, or which had to have been, the footage they used had to have been in the 80s, because she didn't look as disheveled and as she was when I knew her. But man, they were that was fascinating to see Dorothy there. I was like, oh my gosh. Hey Christian, you're in here. Nice to see you. Let's see. Nisi, HBO Max. I don't care what the crazy stuff they had on him. There's that. There's that. But sometimes you can't. Sometimes you like somebody so much you can avoid it. You cannot think about it. Here's the thing. Here's one. John Phillips. I adore his work. I love John Phillips. I have a hard time, but I can disassociate it. Michael Jackson, guilty or not? I mean, depending on however you feel about it, I can't hear a single Michael Jackson song anymore. I dive for it. So it makes no sense. It's a personal choice, but it's personal. I love the Mamas and the Papas. I love the stuff that John Phillips wrote, and I can disassociate it. I can't disassociate Michael Jackson. So there's a weird thing. Paul Rubens, I can. It's always going to be there, but I can sort of disassociate with it. But it's always going to be. That's sort of a medium one. It's there, but it isn't something that I go to straight away. But it's like the second or third thing I go to. Oh, Cynthia, hey there. I can't watch Pee-wee for a long periods of. Absolutely, I get that too, man. That could get on your nerves, most certainly. Yeah, there's certain music I like too that are that's like that too. I love that group, but it's like, after 4 songs, I'm like, okay, enough. Loved him at the Ringling Museum. I loved Big Top Pee-wee, but not as much as the others, because you didn't want Pee-wee to have a love interest. He was sort of like this kind of doll, you know what I mean? You don't want him to have like that type of drive. I don't know. That was sort of weird. So I didn't get into that movie so much. But Mishu, the little man who we buried, he was in it. When your childhood hero goes busted for waxing his carrot in a movie theater. I see. They're saying that he says he didn't. He says that he was in the adult movie, and even if you were, when you're in an adult movie theater, I don't, but that's why a lot of people go there. Ricardo, have you met anyone from the Groundlings? Well, sure, because that's his Terry Bolo, our lovely friend from the shop. She was at the helm of Dearly Departed tours for years, and she was one of the founding members of the Groundlings. I've met Lorraine Newman at the El Coyote on the anniversary of the Manson murders. I met Lynn Stewart a few times, who was Miss Yvonne. Hey, Karen Beer. Good. Oh, nice. It's so nice to hear from you. I really, I love hearing from you, because I do. I wish we could have more fun when you were here. It just wasn't. You know what? I'm still in that freaking boot. I still am in the boot. I was off of the boot for like 2 weeks, and then something happened, and I had to go back on it. And it's so tedious, but it just affects. Well, I think you said you had surgery like that or something like that. And it's not fun. Not fun. So I regret not having more fun when you were here. I really do. Let's see. There's some jokes going. Oh wait. Oh boy. Oh boy. See, this always happens. I'm going wow, way back, way back, way back. Okay. Ba, 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 ba. Going to the 50th anniversary of the Rocky Horror Picture Show. No, somebody called me and asked me if I would lend them Sadie Corey's suit for their show, and I'm like, no. If you want to fly me in, I'll come in and I'll talk, because nobody really talks about my book. Nobody talks about all the people that I tracked down that have never been interviewed before. And I think that information, along with my collection from Rocky Horror, is worthy of that. But they certainly don't think so. So said no. Do I know whatever happened to the actor that Manson wanted Linda Kasabian and Susan Atkins to kill? Oh, that was the guy from Iran, I think. But I think he was just the person that was in that apartment. No. Yeah, it was an Iranian actor. I can't remember his name. But I think he died. I think I remember that he died. He touched so many. Blue skies, thank you for your support. I certainly appreciate that. Thank you. Uh, Amberlin or Abramelin. Do I ship to the UK? Yes, I do. And there's a note. There's a notation on the top of the page at the shop if anyone wanted to buy anything from Dearly Departed Tours online. I just added pieces of George Michael's restroom. There's Betty White's house. There's of course the Tate house from Cielo Drive, the fireplace, pieces of the Ambassador Hotel. These are all things I got on my own. The Lee Harvey Oswald steps. At the top of that shop on the Dearly Departed Tours page, there's an email address. So if you're from out of the country, I have to do that individually. The website won't do international shipping because it just doesn't. But yeah, I can just reach out to me and send me your address and tell me what you want to buy. I can get back to you with an exact cost. I can invoice you. I can do it that way. It's easy to do that way. It's hard. It's just hard to do it in a blankets way to do it. So yes, I can do it. And thank you for asking. But thank you, Blue Skies. Thank you very much. Coldwater, Michigan. Bruce Valanche worked on the Star Wars Christmas special too. Yes, that's right. He did. What meal do I miss from Hollywood? The El Coyote. 100%. Love that. Oh, well, Crispy Crust pizza used to be good. I still love that. You can't get that anywhere. And then Jordan turned me on. Well, Giordano's was a Chicago-style pizza that was really good when I lived in Chicago. And then one opened up near Jordan's old place on, I think it was on Ventura Boulevard, and that was really good. But it's not necessarily LA, it's Chicago. But Giordano's opened up an LA branch, and I'm all there. I'm all there. Jacqueline from Kazoo, hello there. You killed one of the Righteous Brothers. He told Howard Stern. Oh yeah, you're talking about Phil Hartman. Should have sued Paul Rubens over the. Yeah, he wouldn't have been able to. But yeah, I can understand being. Celine, hey there. I understand being angry. It's just the way things work out. He's very driven, and he said, when he had the star on the Walk of Fame, anyone I walked on to get here can come here and walk on my star. And I was like, well, there you are. Nashua, New Hampshire. Hello, Allen, Kentucky, Illinois. Phil Hartman did well for himself, though. He did. Crazier than a bag of hangers. You thought that was funny? No, I didn't make it up. No, that's just an expression that there's lots of them. Crazier than a box of frogs, and there's a whole bunch of them. Sun City, hello. Hey, Allison, thank you very much. Thank you so much for the donation. It's very much appreciated. What happened to Melrose Larry? I don't know. This guy used to just walk around, and I don't know. I forget even what he did, but I saw him everywhere. I don't know what he did, but I don't know what happened to him. The Allie Willis house. Yeah. Hey, that was another thing that was interesting, Misty, is during the Paul Rubens documentary, they didn't talk about Allie Willis, who was, I think, an integral part of a lot of all that. He's the one that, she's the one that brought the Del Rubio triplets around, and Paul was at her party and met them. And Allie was like a photograph, and Allie's girlfriend was active, and I recognized her from the Allie Willis documentary. But Allie Willis seemed to be not in there a whole lot, which I thought was interesting. You remember the button lady? She was nice. She was really nice. Tomas, hey Tomas. I still have a box over here that I'm going to do an unboxing really soon. Who was not done stupid stuff? Minus John Phil. Yeah. Well, right. Some stupid stuff's epic, and that's one of them. Yeah, Lily Tomlin, and she used to hang out at the Silver Spoon, and I really regret not talking to her when she was there. I couldn't think of what to talk to her about, though. And now it's like I got all kinds of things I want to talk about. She lived in W.C. Field's house, and I heard it was haunted. That's the house that Cecil B. DeMille's grandson drowned in the pond in front of the house, and then Lily Tomlin and Jane Wagner bought the house. And so, yeah, I'd love to. And also, What was the other thing I want to? Oh, Bruce. They say she grew up in the Brewster Projects, which I think is really interesting. I don't know if that's true, but she certainly grew up in Detroit. But I've never heard the Brewster Projects until fairly recently, which is where the Supremes and Smokey Robinson and a lot of the Motown people lived. I've never heard that Lily lived there until fairly recently, and so I don't necessarily believe it that she lived in the Brewster Projects. Can you visit the Pee Wee house? You can visit the one from the movie. You can't get to his house. It's a gated community. It's called the Oak Streets. You're groundling, Dick Dangerous? Are you there now? I saw the bride and groom from the Rocky Horror Picture Show at a fan expo in Denver this year. You're talking about Hillary LeBeau and I forget the other guy's name. They played Ralph Hapshot. So I mean, Susan and Barry have been doing them, but I didn't know Hillary LeBeau and oh god, Graham. Boy, I can't remember his name. I should. I'm kind of embarrassed. I don't know his name. But Hillary LeBeau is the one who said, okay, guys, this is it, and throws the bouquet at the very beginning. When am I going to David Lynch's grave? Next time I'm in LA, I guess. What are your thoughts on Mariska Hargitay's documentary? That will be interesting. I'm dreading it a little bit because I'm afraid what she might say about me. I mean, not me, but us having the car. That might be Saladin Nadir. That was his name. Lebanese actor who was the guy that Manson said that. Thanks, Heidi. That Manson sent them to kill in Venice. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think he's dead now. Gammy and Annabelle. Hi there. Let's see. Oh, Tomas, thank you very much. You're very, very kind. What's going on with Maryland's house? Maryland's house has been saved so far. I don't think it's in the clear, but I think it's been saved. You know what? My friend Scott Fortner has a page called the Marilyn Monroe Collection, and if you get a chance to look on his page today, it's on Instagram and on Facebook. It's really interesting because there's some talk about Marilyn Monroe and the way she died, and there's talk that like they gave her like an enema. And he goes into some of the details there without getting really gross. And they say that he checked to see if he had she had a washing machine, and he has all of her receipts of everything that was sold afterwards and the entire thing with the estate. And there's no mention of a washing machine. It's very, very interesting. So Scott, I like Scott. He's a friend, and he can look at Marilyn with sort of. I mean, of course, he adores her, but he can look at her as a human being, not like some people can't, they're out of breath when their person like Joan Crawford or Jean Harlow gets brought up, they just can't even speak. And and some people like Scott are very factual. He loves her, but he can look at her like a human. Mark, thank you for the donation. Have I heard Manson's albums? I have, yeah. And I never thought Manson was terrible. I never thought he was very good. I never thought he was very bad. I thought he was pretty okay. Just got here. Love the video on Carl and Dolly's grave. Thank you. I figured, well, it is Tennessee. I don't know. Somebody else said that, and I'm surprised it has it over there instead of Tennessee. I mean, Nashville is Tennessee, isn't it? I don't understand that. Somebody else made that comment, and I don't understand why that because they're in Nashville. So at least that's the address of the place. Oh, what's the other thing that I watched on Netflix was that Fred and Rose West documentary, and I don't know if you saw that. Some people I know who are really followed that case a lot. I mean, I followed it a bit. Say that it was all a lot of reused footage. That I'm not sure of. I know I've seen some of it, like the interview with their son, and so I thought it was pretty good. I thought it was pretty good. I saw footage I've never seen before of when they were digging up the garden and when they took Fred West back to the garden. This was something that happened in England, in Gloucester, I think. And they, Fred West, I think it was 13 people that were buried in the garden or under the house. One was including their daughter, and it is a horrific story. And it's the husband and wife, and that makes it even more horrific. And then their child, amongst many other girls. Pretty gross couple. Fascinating story, and I thought it was a really good documentary. I would definitely recommend that. Definitely. Any plans to visit Indiana? No, Jordan asked me to go along really recently, but with the stupid foot, I couldn't do it. So I hope to. I hope to.
I have a question.
Troy has a question.
You brought up the groundlings.
Yeah.
Through Pee Wee. If there's got to be somebody out there in the chat who can name the connection between the groundlings. Well, I'll just say the groundlings building and Bananarama.
Okay, this is a quiz.
Yeah.
Okay, so Troy says, is there anyone out there who knows the connection between the Groundlings building, the Groundlings Theater, and Bananarama? So that's I'm putting that out there. So
I'm a Bananarama fan.
Troy loves Bananarama. He does, and yes, very much so. And not the fake Bananarama without what's her face? What's her name?
What?
Who's the when they tour without that one woman? Who's the one woman?
Oh God, I can't remember.
Who's the woman? I mean, you're the three girls, and one left the group, and you don't want to.
The one that left was
Yeah.
Siobhan.
Siobhan. So you don't want to see it when she's not with it, right? You think they're fake. They're fake. They're phony. No, you know what? I did not Mexican spec. I don't know what about Nell Carter's show. I never did. You know what I was expecting? I have to study more because I have to do that makeup sort of roulette thing. But there's like 3 shows that are all about people like this sort of formed family with this one sort of matriarch type of character, female, and that one with Gary Coleman, the one with Dana Plato, this Nell Carter one. There's like facts of life and different strokes, and I forget what the other one is, but that was beyond me. It was not my era of television. So that's how I defend myself with the Nell Carter thing. I remembered Hair, I remembered The Wiz, but I don't remember that show because I never watched it because that I was out and about during those times. So that's how I defend myself a little bit. Not, I guess it sounded defensive. I don't mean it to be that way. I'm glad you like the celebrity death roulette because Troy, that was totally Troy's thing, and it's fun to do. It's fun to do. It's embarrassing at times for me when I listen to them again, but I can't. That's why I don't usually. But it's. Is there one celebrity dead or alive that you would love to interview? Well, I've always said Roddy McDowell. That's somebody I would love to talk to because Roddy knew everybody. Roddy McDowell had these parties Sunday lunches at his house where he would get 6 or 8 people and all sorts of people. So, and he knew everything. He knew everything, and he kept a diary. So I would love to talk to him. Did I drive for Graveline Tours in 1996? I did. I was there from 94 to 97, I think. So yes. Northern Indiana. Lily definitely went to Cass Tech. Yes, as did Diana Ross. Yeah, I knew that. Across the street from the Masonic Temple, which is where I just read yesterday they're doing like a 50th anniversary Rocky Horror Picture Show with Barry, Pat, and Nell are doing a thing at the Masonic Temple, which is I saw so many groups there. Prince played there. Saw the B-52s there. So many people played the Masonic Temple. So many people. Hey, Nancy, thank you. Thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate that. You heard that Mickey Hargitay isn't Mariska's father. Yes, that is correct. Yeah. He's not her father. Not her biological father, but the man who raised her when Jane was killed. Jane picked him. Mickey was the good one of the bunch. She had some real winners, Sam Brody and Matt Simber, and she had some really scuzzy relationships, but Mickey treated her like gold. And that, like, kind of like I always say, like Sharon Tate was, you leave the one that treats you like gold to go with the one that treats you like crap. And Jane, I think it was my friend Eve Golden said, I think if there was a bad decision to be made, Jane Mansfield made it. Oh boy. You're right. Roddy was best friends with Nancy Reagan was on Different Strokes. That's right. The drugs thing. Oh, I'm going back. See, I got to go back. Got to go back again. I'm really sorry, you guys. Dallas Alice, thank you very much for the donation. I appreciate it. Okay, there we go. Thank you. Oklahoma City just did a video about that, about the incident in Oklahoma City. That was something being there for that, or not at that time, but seeing that. Did you know your boss at the Punch and Judy died a few years ago? I'm not sure which one you mean. I had three. And yeah, I knew two. Well, I know Chris Jazik, who ended up going over to the Madison. He died. And I know Mark Etter died. And if you're talking about the other one, Tom Shaker, I don't know. I don't know. I don't if that's the one you mean. But I had three bosses at the Punch, which was another great place to work. It was this little theater in Grosse Pointe outside of Detroit. And there, God, the Devo, the Ramones, Pat Benatar, David Johansen, Timothy Leary, God, the Romantics, the Ramones, everyone played that place. That was a cool little place. Dick Dangerous, you're a lifetime member. That's cool. What years did you start at the Groundlings? Does anyone know about the Bananarama thing yet? I have to. Used to collect a lot of Maryland's things, which I sold to Scott Fortner. She got hard days in that. Do I believe Michael Jackson did do the hanky panky with the kids? I don't enjoy Michael Jackson's work anymore. So thank you, Dallas. That was so good to see you today. Love your Patreon too. Thank you. Thank you for being a sponsor. Am I going to do a video about Kitten? Probably. God, I wish I would have. I wanted to interview her, but no, I don't. I would love to. I would love to have interviewed her. I really would have. Kitten Natavidad, who was the last mistress of Russ Meyer. She was in Beyond the Valley of the Dolls, I think. No, Beneath the Valley of the Ultra Vixens, and that's when my friend Donna set up a meeting with Haji and Kitten where I was supposed to buy Frank Gorshin's underwear, but it didn't work out. Pet Shop Boys Go West is about those putrid people. Which putrid people? I thought about no, I don't think I'm going to do anything on James Dean's 70th. I don't think so. I like going there on my own. I really enjoy going to see to the crash scene on my own. And there's usually a lot of people there right on the anniversary, and I just kind of like doing it on my own. A Valley death map video would be good. We did a Valley. It was at the 50th anniversary, I think, of Helter Skelter. I think we did a Valley tour. Elisa Jordan and I'm not sure what year that was. Have I visited James Dean's Transaxle in Vegas? No. Yeah, I don't know if he'll get more of the car. I don't know. My TikTok finally showed up. Yeah, oh, that's right. I do a TikTok now. If you guys didn't know, here's a funny thing. I've added some stuff. I think it's kind of interesting on TikTok. A lot of the stuff was like old stuff that I did, but hadn't been seen for a long time. And here and there, 50 hits, 60 hits. Then I'll get maybe 200, 300. And I uploaded one yesterday of there was a murder in the Olive Hotel on Sunset Boulevard, and all of a sudden there's like 7,500 hits on this thing, and I'm like, I don't get it. I just don't get it. There's got to be some sort of method to that. I don't know. I just need somebody to do it for me. I'm just so tired. It's hard. This stuff is hard. It really is. And YouTube's starting to mess with people because they're sort of taking away, our livelihood. All of a sudden, what we do for a living is not making it because YouTube is changing something, and all of a sudden we're suffering because of it every month. So I don't know. Uh, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen with that. Try to do other things. Boy, I'm down. I'm really far behind, aren't I? So nobody's got that thing yet. Long time listener here. Very sad I missed out on the museum, but glad you're still making content. From a diehard old death egg, Snoopy Dre. Thank you. Thank you, Snoopy. I love 10 Minutes with Rita Moreno. Is she the one that Sally, not Susan, so Sally Struthers was trashing somebody? I think it was Rita Moreno. Really said nasty things about her. Well, she said she was nasty to her. I think it was Rita Moreno. Either that or it was Cheetah Rivera. Rita Moreno, Cheetah Rivera. I have not been to Minnesota, so I haven't sang. I haven't sang here. I just got them mixed up. I have been to Minnesota, but not been to the Prince's locations. Was I in the documentary "The Funny Side of Death"? I don't know. I don't know. That sounds like something I might have been in, but I don't remember. You Googled Bananarama and the Groundlings and come up with nothing. So it's a real trick question. Not a trick question, but it's a good one.
Oh no. This is only for hardcore Bananaramas.
Okay. Troy says only a hardcore Bananarama fan will know this.
Yeah.
So if there's any Bananarama message boards, go and find them. When I lived in Chicago, I was lucky enough to meet, living in Chicago, that was a great place. I loved living in Chicago. And I'm trying to think of who I ever saw there, celebrity wise. I saw Oprah, but this was before Oprah was Oprah. We're just walking down Michigan Avenue. She was just on the local stations at that point. She didn't become Oprah yet. Irv Cups. I went to Lucy's memorial service there. I know that I've seen. I saw Dolly there a couple of times when she was making the movie Straight Talk with James Woods, and we used to see him making movies quite a bit. In fact, John Goodman, when he made the movie Babe, they filmed in front of our house, and they made our street into a dirt road, and that was kind of fun. But yeah, I love Chicago. God, I love Chicago. I really love that. I have not seen Louder Than Love. I've not seen. Thinking about Nell Carter wasn't giving me a break. Okay, Jordan and his wife are so nice. They are. I have been to the ambush site of Bonnie and Clyde. Troy and I have been there. Yeah, our video footage came out really cruddy. That museum was something else. Now we went to the Bonnie and Clyde Museum down near where the shootout was, and it was really rustic. We'll say rustic. And it was like creaky and no air conditioning, and and there was this one guy that was sitting there at the counter, and yeah, I don't know, it was like, now I look and it's like all very nice. So I don't know when that happened, but it happened, and good, I'm glad, but I kind of like the creaky old one too. Just one person's opinion. Thank you from upstate New York. Thank you for your donation. I appreciate it. Hey, you know what? Okay, so oh god, the other thing I was going to talk about was the Menendez brothers, but maybe I shouldn't. Well, I mean, you know what? I will. What the hell? How can that be? How can we be talking about releasing those two? I don't get it. I don't get it. If they, there's that, I say that if they let them out, that'll let everybody out who's been a victim of abuse, like Betty Broderick, who was pushed to the edge. I don't believe what happened to them happened. I don't believe, but even if it did happen, they could have left. They were adults. Eric was 17, but Lyle was an older. I get furious when I think about the possibility of people like celebrities like Ryan Murphy who should be prosecuted for making them sound like sympathetic characters, those two little monsters. Oh, it makes me crazy thinking about those two. And celebrities getting involved like that makes me crazy. I probably shouldn't be that opinionated, but I guess I've never been secretive about how I feel about that. Oh God, that makes me crazy that they make it out. Crazy. Oh, you're listening from Istanbul. Hello there. Hardcore banana boobs. Let's see. Was married to comedian Fred Armisen. When I took the Graveline tour, Casper. I hired Casper. Yeah. Casper's still around too. And Graveline tours. It was Casper. There was Michael. There was Steve. There was me. Greg was the owner, but he had left LA. But Casper, yeah, he's a great guy. He's still on Facebook. I have to look into. Abo AHBO, I think is his last name. I have to look him up. I haven't talked to him in a long time. But yeah, Casper is a great guy. What a great guy. Why do I collect Tab products? I don't know. Why do I collect anything? I don't know. I just like it. I like the jingle and I like the way it looked. I guess. Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, I just like it. It's like Colonel Sanders. I can't say why. Well, I can say why because he kind of freaked me out. I don't know. I just like certain things, like Laughing. I love the show Laughing. So that's the other thing I was going to talk about. There's a video that I wanted to do. Here's something that really irks me too, and I hope it irks you too. I was going to do a video. I am going to do a video on Terry Melcher. Terry Melcher is the guy who lived on Cielo Drive with Candace Bergen and Mark Lindsay. And then he moved out and Sharon and Roman moved in. So I'm going to do this video on Mark Lindsay. I mean, on Terry Melcher. And I can see some of the conversations are going on about Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. And I'll tell you, because, I know I talk about it all the time, but I will, because it's like my favorite thing that I've done. I had Quentin on the tour. Well, it wasn't on the tour, but I was taking him around with the production people, the location guy and the production designer, Barbara Ling. And we went to Jay Sebring's salon. And I told him that Mark Lindsay told me about the two songs, Straight Shooter and Good Thing, were composed on the house on Cielo Drive. And all that furniture was the same furniture that was in the room when the murders happened. So technically the piano that those two songs were composed on with Terry Melcher and Mark Lindsay were in the room when the murders happened. And Tarantino went, what? And he reacted to that. Those two, so he pursued it. I know that because they used those two songs in the movie. And he also used like the Straight Shooter thing from the Mamas and the Papas too, that I told him about. And, Mark Lindsay's made bank on those two songs. So anyway, it doesn't matter that. I mean, it's a thing I'm proud about. But so Mark Lindsay's got this page on Facebook, and they were pushing this online shop, and they were like, "Oh, buy this stuff," and because he's moving to Hawaii with his wife, and they're selling, junk like autograph pictures, not junk, autograph pictures, and certain things that had to do with his career. So there's this contract. And it's signed by Terry Melcher and by him for this Christmas song that they composed. And then he used to live on Wonderland Drive, and there were some documents having to do with his house on Wonderland Drive. So I bought them. Well, that was in February, and they said that the delivery time was going to be mid-April, and it never got delivered. So I wrote the shop. I wrote this. I think it was a Spotify shop. I wrote him on Facebook. I wrote the Paul Revere and the Raiders on Facebook. I wrote Twitter. On Twitter, I tweeted him. I wrote the website, Paul Revere and the Raiders, of the Mark Lindsay website. Nothing. And I wrote him all again 2 times. Nothing. So I do believe that whoever is running this Mark Lindsay shop should be giving out refunds. but it's pissing me off because they're ripping off people. And I go to the threads from that store that they were pushing on Mark Lindsay's page, and there are other people in the threads going, I never got it. They're not responding. So that's pissing me off big time, and I don't know what else to do. I've written Shopify. They're supposed to get in touch with them, but if any of you guys know Mark Lindsay from Paul Revere and the Raiders, or something to do with that, with him, let me know if you don't mind, because I don't know how else to get in touch with the dude. And it really pissed me off. And it is affecting my work, because that was the reason I purchased these documents. And you know, I don't have money to burn through. So it just pisses me off in a big way, because I'm getting this stuff for everyone to enjoy. And that's sort of ripping off everybody in a weird way, if that makes any sense. So if any of you guys know Paul Revere and the Raiders, the guy, whoever runs that page, or knows Mark Lindsay or somebody who knows him, let me know, or let them know that I'm looking, because it's pissing me off. And there's a lot of people that are pissed off because they're not getting what they paid for. And it's a couple $100, you know, it pisses me off. It really does. Sorry, pardon my language. But yeah, no, it's really bugging my ass. It is. I don't know, Misty, you started saying something. I had to follow it. Siobhan was the original members and later Shakespeare's sister. I knew that. What are the top 3 pieces of memorabilia? May's teeth, Sharon's eyelashes, and the car. I think those are the ones that come to the top of my head. Those are my 3 favorites. So the connection is more of a 6 degrees of separation kind of thing, but a fun tidbit trying to get through 80s pop royalty and American comedy. Oh, so you're saying was it Troy? Are you here? He's not here. Was it that comic? Do I think Prince's death was suspicious? I thought it came out of nowhere. That surprised me, but I don't know if it's suspicious. Boy, I'm far behind now. Now, does it have to do with Siobhan's husband or something?
No.
Okay.
No.
Tarantino got B-listed. There's another thing. There's a new book coming out about the making of Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. They asked everybody. They interviewed everybody. I have pictures that have never been published of Tarantino at the J.C. Bringhouse and stuff. So I didn't get in touch with everybody. Isn't it funny how childish I can be? But anyway, childish. Well, you know what? You want recognition for the stuff you did, because I am not given. It's one of those things, and you know, probably had to do with like parents telling you to shut up and you can't defend yourself. And it's sort of like that. It's sort of like a recognition thing. You want recognition for the stuff you did because you deserve recognition for the things you did. So there. You like the Lana Clarkson? Thanks for. I'm glad, Tony. I'm glad you liked the Lana Clarkson video. Is Brian the driver still around? Yeah, Brian Donnelly. He's on Facebook. You brought me. Oh, hey, Squirrel Ranch Films. You brought that. Okay, I loved your house. Loved your house. Oh man, because I got that cool painting of Jane Mansfield's. Oh God, I love that painting. So thank you for bringing it. It was really nice to meet you that day. Very nice to meet you. Loved your house. You loved the uranium. You loved the Raquel Welch soup. Should the neighbor who acquired Monroe's residence with the intention of expanding her home be compensated by the city since it was made historical after the sale? I think that's fair, or at least get their money back. Yeah, I think that's fair. You can't pull the rug out of under somebody's feet without something like that. So, yeah, I believe that should happen. Charlene, I will do Terry Melcher, but I want my stuff. Am I going to do a story on Mary Warnoff? I sure like to. I would. Next time I'm in town, I'll get some pictures of her house. I have still images, but I love Mary Warnoff. She's great. What?
Do a story on Mary Warnoff.
Yeah, that's what that's what I just said. Yeah.
No, he said Warnoff.
Oh,
Warnoff.
Troy always calls her Warnos, like Eileen. So I saw her once at my Smart and Final supermarket once, Mary Warnoff. I was like, I couldn't even speak. I was so excited. And then I met her at the at her art gallery thing, and I bought one of her paintings. If I could do a true crime book about one case, the only thing that I know well enough to even consider writing a book about would be Manson, and there's too many books, and also books. There's no. I like my videos. I like doing that. It's work, but sitting down and writing a book, that doesn't interest me. Can you still name all the celebrities that died at Cedars? Boy, I don't know. I think I tried to do that recently. Minnie Riperton, Sammy Kahn, Arjun Lee, Gracie Allen, Lucille Ball, Fanny Bryce, River Phoenix, Marion Davies, Audrey Meadows, Avery Schreiber, Groucho Marx, Gilda Radner, David O. Selznick, Avery Schreiber, Groucho Marx, Gilda. No, I can't. I could pick it up. Rebecca Schaefer, Ann Miller, Ron Carey, Tom Poster, Merv Griffin, Robert Goulet, David Gross, Sid Charisse, Mr. Blackwell. Oh my gosh, Sherwood Schwartz, Elizabeth Taylor, Carrie Fisher. Oh man, I can't. Yeah, it used to be better. It used to be better. I see. Every once in a while, this zimps up. So yeah, it was the other thing I was going to mention, but I already did mention that. If you get a chance and you want to poke over to TikTok, and I am there as Dearly Departed Tours, and I am posting stuff on TikTok now, and I'm just looking at it different since YouTube is sort of messing people around nowadays. I gotta look for something else to do. Not that I'm comfortable with this, but it's a social media business. It's really hard work. It's really hard work. Any news on George Wendt? No. Mark Lindsay has a show on Sirius Radio. Him or Me. I think that was the song. Him or Me, and yeah, I said that already. I think the Mark Lindsay song that was written on Cielo Drive, and good times. Good thing. Who was the best real gossip source? Crazy Days and Nights. I'm trying to think of who I would recommend. I do listen to Crazy Days and Nights. You know what else I listen to too, but it's mostly British stuff. There's a page called Pop Bitch in the UK, and they're really good. But it's like probably 30%, 40% maybe Americans, but it's a good dishy page. Pop Bitch. I've been on there for like 25 years. I love it. Love it. Do I like the Meta glasses? I don't. Does it look like I have Meta glasses on? These are Walgreens. I could have the most expensive glasses, but when it comes, I just put on these cruddy old ones. So these are not Meta glasses. I apologize if my eyes are obscured and it's annoying you. Is Batman real? You may as well ask how many angels can dance on the head of a pin. This may seem like a weird idea. When you're bringing home a celebrity something, do you ever smell the item? Yes, actually. Yes, definitely. Jordan, you're still in here? More recipes. There was one that I wanted to do. It was Jolie Gabor's rye bread, but the rye bread stuff was just sitting around for way too long. So we ended up not doing it. Somebody said, and Don P, thank you very much. Yeah, if you don't mind liking this stuff, it really does help with the algorithm, and really need that attention. If you don't mind doing that, I appreciate it very much. So. Kathy Najimy, I don't know if she's a terrible person, but she was kind of shitty to me on Troy, I think. So yeah. Yeah, Anthony Lambert, the furniture, I mean, Altabelli is the one who told me that. The guy that owned the house at the time, he's the one that says, yeah, it was a fully furnished house. And then he said, I wanted to know what the phone number was, what Sharon Tate's phone number was. And I asked someone who asked Deborah Tate. She didn't know it. So I asked Altabelly, and he goes, dot, 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 dot. And the guest house was dot, 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 dot. And I've always wanted to get a tattoo having to do with the case, but I never wanted to get Manson's face on me. I didn't want Helter Skelter on me because I just want that on my body. I thought, well, the phone number, that'd be kind of cool. But I wasn't sure. But then Tom O'Neill, who wrote the Chaos book and the documentary, on his Instagram page posted the phone bill, and it was right. It was the same number Altabelly told me. So I do know it's real. I do know it's real. Amberlyn, I don't know if I got your email. I can't check emails right now, but I will respond to it. I will respond. Speaking of the groundlings, what are your thoughts about the new Pee Wee documentary? You'll have, Mummy Brown, you'll have to go back because I talked about that quite a while at the beginning of this. Mary Warnock was great, and I don't mean to be rude, Mummy or Amberlyn. I don't mean to be rude. I'm just there's a lot of Pee Wee talk on this, and it was good. I liked the documentary, and yeah. But Mary Warnock was amazing in Eating Raoul, and also Scenes from a Class Struggle in Beverly Hills. I loved her in that with Jacqueline Bisset. Mark Lindsay and his wife just zipped. Did I miss that? Well, somebody said that they weren't very honest people, and I'm not surprised. I'm surprised. I've heard that about possibly his wife. Have I seen the death pictures of Albert Decker? I can't say yes and I can't say no. All I know is they aren't available for me to look at. That's what I can say. Now, well, no, I can say this. I saw them. Yeah, I did. I did see them, but and I can't. I've never seen them again. Only once. Just finished both Hollywood Babylon books. I hear half of these books are bullshit. Yes, they are. In fact, I'm working on a video right now about Lupe Velez and the story about her puking and drowning in the toilet, which is just nonsense. A lot of stuff is nonsense. The stuff about, I think Marilyn had syphilis or Jean Harlow had syphilis, and Ramon Navarro was a murder with a phallic lead thing that Valentino gave him. It's all just nonsense. Kenneth Anger, I don't know, it was an interview or that I saw or I read, and his answer was, no one sued me yet because they're all dead. But yeah, he's another one. He's like Ryan Murphy. He should have been prosecuted just for making stuff up. Let's see. You just like it, Charlene. Just like the video, please. It's a little heart thing. I think it helps. I think it helps. Okay. Thanks, Grummel, for the Greg Hummel. Grummel. Thanks for the invite. Lee Radziwill was invited to the Polanski Tate wedding. I wouldn't be surprised. I mean, it was a big show, busy wedding. Joan Collins was there, and Haley Mills and her father were there, and so it was a Michael Caine was there. It was a starry function, so I'm not surprised. Well, I'm glad Kathy. It was just a negative experience. Maybe she just didn't like me. That's fine. But I walk away with the memory. It might have been a minute in her life, but it's a memory I will always have. So I can't enjoy her because another thing, I bought autographs from her that weren't autographs. I don't think she even signed them, and she charged me for it. Oh, yeah, that's kind of shitty. I think I did do it. It's a story about her. Now, no, anyone that would do that to somebody, I think is dishonest, and I don't like dishonesty. Do you know why Billie Lourde doesn't get along with Todd Fisher? No, I really don't. Todd loves his family. I know that, and adores his family. That I know. And there's not a more devoted to the family person that I know. That Todd is very much, he worships his family. He does. What, if you get a chance, Kat and Todd Fisher do a show on Friday after or Saturday afternoons at 5, Kat and Todd Live, and they're so interesting, and they're always bringing out really interesting stories about Debbie Reynolds and how, she preserves so many things, and Carrie and her as a human being, and as well as their crazy, upbringing and mental illness and collections. It is awesome. Cat and Todd Live. They have a channel on YouTube, and every Saturday at 5 they do it, and it's really really interesting. I really enjoy it. We always do, and I yeah, I enjoy it. Joel Rhodes, watching you from Nashville with my mom who's visiting from Illinois. Well, hello there and happy birthday. Happy birthday, Joel, or belated. How's the Farrah painting doing? Or the Farrah collage? I had this Farrah Fawcett collage that I made in high school, and I showed it in one of my live things, and it was like a piece of poster board with all these pictures of Farrah on it. And I'm just going to throw it out. And Joel was all taken. I'm like, cool. So I sent it to Joel, and he sent me a picture, and he had it framed. I love that. I love it. It's so cool. Yeah, I love Farrah. Farrah the Fantastic. Have I seen the death photos of Freddie Prinze? No, I haven't. And I just saw something recently that Freddie had a daughter possibly with Mary. I don't know if that's true. I haven't heard another thing about it, but I read in an article, I didn't read the whole article, but it said that Freddie had a daughter with Mary, I forget her last name, his common law wife or his wife. And I thought that was kind of interesting. Do I think Brittany Murphy could have been murdered? I'm not big on conspiracies. I'm not big on conspiracies. It's an unusual thing. The father told me that he thought the mother did it, was in cahoots with Simon, and then she threw Simon under the bus and did him too. I did a Brittany Murphy video. You'll hear the interview. If you, Angelo, her father, I interviewed him. If you look up Brittany Murphy on my channel. Casey and Gene Kasem. No, I don't know anything about them. I mean, I know what everyone else knows. Phil Kilmer, same. I know what everyone else knows. Do you gross out on fresh seafood in the dessert? I don't understand that question. When did we get to hear Hervey's phone call? That's another one. I'd love that. I'd love to hear Hervey Billy Shea's phone call. The twins from The Shining are still around. Do I have death photos of Freddie Prinze? No. Fred Otash. I don't know who that is, Peter. Do you still take pictures of mailboxes? When I do, yeah, when I can, if I do the research. I did a couple of those videos on just celebrity mailboxes. Everybody hates Eric Roberts. Sometimes Eric Roberts is hateable. That I've experienced too. Yeah, Eric Roberts can be a jerk too. Everyone can be a jerk. Being jerk to people that don't deserve it, that's not cool. And Eric Roberts, I don't know if he's like that as a human being all the time, but the time I spent with him, which wasn't, it was more than a casual meeting. There were hours, and I was unimpressed with his attitude and the way he treated people. What to do with all these paper straws I'm going to send you? I don't know what you mean. Everybody hates. I said I've never heard that people hated Eric Roberts, but I know when he told me that Bob Fosse directed Star 80, and I laughed in his face. I go, "You're full of shit." No, I said you're on something, which I didn't realize he had issues with substance abuse. I said, "Well, you're high or something like that," and he was. I'd never heard that before. That Bob Fosse actually is the guy who directed Star 80. I didn't know that, so I was embarrassed by that. Oh, let's see. Okay, I'm gonna have to go in a minute. Any thoughts on the 27 Club? No, not really, because it's a coincidence. It's a good coincidence. I can't imagine why, unless it's one of those things where people sell their souls, and the price they pay is to die at 27, and that might be true. The only superstars coming from Detroit is Bozo? That's not true. He's from Chicago. David Omen, he's David's eccentric. I wouldn't call him creepy. He's eccentric. Well, David hosts a creepy house, so there's probably an element of that. I like David. Francis Langford. Why I know that name, but I can't think of why I know that name. Francis Langford. Okay. I'm gonna have to scoop. Where'd it go? Let's see. House's long history of murders. I have wondered why he has some very personal things of Carrie's that I thought may have gone to her daughter. I'm sure they worked it out. Yeah, I'm sure that all that stuff was probably handled, at the moment. I'm sure there were probably things that Billie just didn't want, or maybe Todd wanted. And when Carrie died and Debbie died, I think that Todd was the executor, maybe have been the executor of their wills. I don't know. It's something, but I know that Debbie, probably left everything to Todd, and um, I don't know how that worked out, but Todd would only have good intentions. That I know. I don't know Billie. I don't know Billie. I have read the book about Sunset, about the castle on Sunset, about the Marmont. I have not been to the pet cemetery. I got a text from Charles not that long ago, well, about a month ago, and he says that he thanked me again. So I think things are going well at the pet cemetery. But after I get this foot surgery business done and dusted, I'll head over there again. Marvin Gaye's house burned down. Maybe a house he had in Malibu, but no, the house where he was murdered in is still there. Marvin Gaye's house. I still have Lucy's. Not well. You know what? I think I might have small bits of Lucy's house, but I might have put him back up actually because I think I found in an envelope some smaller pieces. So that's still up there. I think on the shop page. Do I remember the Beverly Hills Supper Club fire? That sounds familiar, but not off the top of my, not at the top of my head. Not off the top of my head. Supper Club fire. Do I think Pete Davidson is funny? Okay, I should go. I should go. What Ricardo said something funny. I see people are responding to him. There are a couple documentaries about Studio 54 out there that are pretty good. And then Mike Myers movie was kind of okay. But yeah, there's some good stuff on. And you know what? There is probably not a whole lot of people that know Patrick Cowley or Sylvester, but I've been wanting to do this video on those guys for a long time. The whole San Francisco sort of disco kind of that was a big part of a time in my life that I loved. And there's no way I can do a video about these people without playing their music, but I can't play their music because I would, they demonetize me on Facebook. So I just don't know what to do with that. I really don't. But I love those guys. I did all the research. I went out up there and took photographs and stuff. And I interviewed Patrick's old writing partner who co-wrote You Make Me Feel Mighty Real. And I'd love to do a story, but it's hard to do that because you can't use the music or they'll shut you down. It's just such a bummer because they're such cool stories. But then again, it's hard to like do a story about somebody and not hear their music, especially when they're not like Patrick Cowley. A lot of people don't know who he is, but if you heard the music, you might. That's kind of a bummer too. You have to work within so many restraints, with so many, within parameters. Oh, Jordan chimed in. Debbie Reynolds left Billie the house thinking that she could be close when thinking then she could be close to Carrie, never knowing that Carrie would pass first. Billie ended up with both. Interesting. Okay. Okay. I know Frances Langford. I don't. Okay, if she's a singer. You're saying I don't. I'm assuming it's a she. Dear friend of mine lived in WeHo for decades. Had some good stories. All right, I'm gonna have to go. Any book recommendations for old Hollywood fans? What am I working on right now? Well, I mean, salacious ones. I mean, I always say the same thing. The one that Peter Lawford's wife wrote, his last wife, which take it with a grain of salt. It was the Peter Lawford story. Her name was Patricia Seton Lawford, and that's a really trashy book. And I think my all-time favorite trashiest book is Mr. S by it was about Sinatra by his old assistant, and I can't remember George. I can't remember what his surname was. And right now, oh my gosh, I'm reading the Little Richard book. Oh, and that's his like I think it's his autobiography kind of. And I forget I think the author's name was White, and that's trashy. I mean, that is like actually I think this Little Richard book like outweighs them all. And Little Richard cooperated with it. So it talks about everything and it's fascinating. I would highly recommend that book. I forget what it's called, but it's I think the author's name is White, and it's really good. It's so trashy, so yeah, shocking, shocking in a good way. Oh, see, some of you guys do know who Sylvester was, and do you want to funk? Saw Sylvester a couple of times in concert, unintentional. One time intentionally. One time I was just at a bar, and all of a sudden he just you know, started on stage, and that was pretty amazing. Pretty amazing. What's my biggest phobia? What's my biggest phobia? Troy, you would know, wouldn't you? What my biggest phobia is?
What is it?
My biggest phobia?
Holes.
Holes.
Oh my god! Well, I know you hate holes.
Holes. Certain, I mean, like, oh, I couldn't even. Not just what. There's certain things.
Like skin holes or like
Oh,
wasp nest holes.
oh yeah. Wasp nest, and there's those crazy flowers
Yeah.
that have the holes in them.
Yeah.
Oh, those things gross me out.
Like the poppies.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah. If you shook them, they were like more. Oh.
No, it's not the poppies. It's God. It's a different flower. It's not the poppies. Lotus or something. I don't know.
Oh.
Yeah, the crevices.
Yeah.
Like a pattern of crevices.
Yeah. Or like where we used to drive into where we lived, there used to be a cactus there with a hole in it. And it was like every time I looked at it, it was like some bug or some bird, poked this way. It was just, oh, you could see the inside. No, it was like, oh, no. And then there's this website or this game where you can like pop pimples or something. It's all like animated business, but it was like the holes afterwards. No. That is my probably most irrational. Yeah. Oh, yeah. Can't. I can't. Yeah. It's definitely one of them. All right. I gotta go. I'm enjoying these comments. So it's called that. I've heard that trypophobia. Heights is a thing. Heights is definitely a thing. If I watch like those Russian kids that are always running around the tops of buildings or yeah, just hopping buildings, it's these guys from Eastern Europe that are doing this. I hardly ever see Americans doing it. And yeah, or oh, that movie where those girls are like climbing the top of that tower to change a light bulb and they got stuck up there. That I just watched the trailer from that, and the bottoms of my feet start sweating. It makes me that's a hard one to deal with too. Yeah, because I need stuff around me. Like if I'm on a roller coaster, I want like I want fences. That one time that Troy and I went to visit the St. Francis Dam the dam that broke, the Mulholland Dam, north of Los Angeles in Santa Clarita. And nearby is a power station. And I thought Troy and I were like going to go up to the top of this hill and look at this overhead view. I got like halfway up and I couldn't do it. And I couldn't turn around because there was nothing on either side. So I actually slid down on my butt because it was so because I couldn't because it was just all yeah, no, that was terrifying too. Terrifying. All right, I'm going to fly. I am going to fly. Thank you guys so much for watching, for spending some time with me. I can't say Happy Memorial Day because Memorial Day is not a happy thing. It's remembering people, people who have died for very righteous reasons for us. So I don't want to say happy, but I hope you have a nice weekend. I hope the weather holds out for you wherever you are in the world. And I know that I don't think you have a bank holiday this year today. I think it was earlier in the week, wasn't it? Or maybe you do. Sometimes they coincide. But anyway, in the U.S. we have a 3-day weekend, and in other places you don't, and in other places you have a nice rest of the day. And thank you guys for joining me. I appreciate it.
But wait, don't try. I gotta answer that question.
See, nobody's asking, Troy. Nobody's going, what's the thing with Bananarama?
No, I think somebody said, "Oh, the answer, please."
Okay, what's the answer?
And I really shouldn't, because it means you're not a Bananarama fan, a hardcore.
So Troy wants to tell you the answer to this trivia question. And what is it? What does Bananarama and the Groundlings Theater have in common?
Well, they posed in front of the Groundlings building for a foreign single called "Who's Got Tact." So if you check the address of the Groundlings, which is I think 7307 Melrose and Bananarama, you'll get the picture. That's it.
Okay. Have you all heard that? Did you guys all hear that? I'm waiting to get confirmation. Have you heard that about the Groundlings Theater? Okay, so somebody said, sorry I waited for that. Okay, they heard it. Okay, Donnie. Oh, thank you, Dallas. Thank you, everyone. Thank you to the people who contributed to the channel. Appreciate it so much, and you guys have a great one. Okay. Oh, and if you run into Mark Lindsay, tell him I want to talk to him. Okay. All right. Have a good one and take care.